Much. And as we get closer to the October 24th election, we're going to bring in right now BC Liberal Party leader Andrew Wilkinson. Good morning and welcome to BT, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks, on this dreary Friday. I'll just get right to it. Why do you think we need a leadership change in this province during a pandemic?
Well, I think we've come into this totally unnecessary election because John Horgan's trying to keep his job, and British Columbians are much, much more concerned about staying healthy and making sure that this second wave doesn't wipe out their careers and their family income. What we're hearing all over the province is people are very worried, for good reason, about whether they're going to have a job by Christmas time. And we've been focusing on that completely. And it seems the NDP are basically dodging around the issue with an economic plan that does basically nothing for regular working families. It contains a lot of transfers between governments, hires some healthcare workers, but it really does nothing to give people that sense of security they're going to have a job in 2021.
All right, and Andrew, if we look at the COVID-19 response in this province, would your response to the pandemic have been different?
Well, we have said since March when this came up, it's our job to fight the virus, not each other. And we did that through the summer. We didn't complain about testing rates. We didn't complain about cures that could have been used. We didn't complain about disclosure of information because we were on the side of the people of British Columbia who did a great job. Our population, our people did a wonderful job of containing this virus with advice from Dr. Henry. So we didn't think it was appropriate to be carping on and complaining about the status of people's health. What we were concerned about is when the economic plan would come out and whether it would be something real. Ontario, right through Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, they all brought out plans in June and July. We had to wait until September 20th when the Premier decided to pop out an economic plan that doesn't amount to much 2 days before calling an election. And it turns out all they wanted to do was run multi-million-dollar advertising campaigns over the weekend at taxpayers' expense before calling their election. So we got to serve the people of British Columbia. That's why you want to do this work. That's why you take it on. And we've got to look forward to a plan that provides for affordable childcare, provides for the survival of our tourism sector, provides for small business relief. We'll be rolling out a program the next couple of weeks about tax relief, about opportunity, about making sure that people have some optimism for the year to come, because we're really disappointed that the NDP government plan has amounted to next to nothing in terms of reassuring people about where the future lies.
And when we look at your candidates, how are you ensuring the voters of British Columbia that you have a diverse range of candidates and that they all have inclusive views?
Oh, it's amazing the quality of candidates we're getting coming forward. These are people coming to us spontaneously, and we've got a great team of strong women candidates all over this province. We have 8 South Asian candidates right now. We have 4 Chinese Canadian candidates right now. It's a very diverse and eclectic and representative group of people that I'm really, really proud of. So we'll be in a great place in terms of representing all parts of British Columbia society.
Are there any particular policies that you've crafted, though, to ensure that that happens?
Well, we'll be rolling things out in the next 2 weeks. We'll be hoping to capture lots of your attention. This week, it's mostly been dealing with the ambush by John Horgan as he attempts to protect his job. And the whole issue this week has been, really, can you trust John Horgan? I mean, he's spinning tales about his relationship with the Green Party falling apart. And their leader, Sonia Furstenauer, has been saying, well, he's just not telling the truth. We've got another episode where he just completely failed to tell the truth about his concept for a second hospital in Surrey and whether it's in the budget. He just made things up. So there's a real trust issue evolving around Mr. Horgan, and we'll try to be putting forward a very positive agenda the next couple of weeks, as I said, with exciting programs that you're going to hear about in a big way. And we do hope to be back on your program to explain them to the people of British Columbia.
All right, and if we switch it around, why should the voters of British Columbia trust you and your party?
Well, we've got a long track record of getting things done. I mean, you want to talk about hospitals. The NDP built nothing in 10 years in the 1990s, and they have built nothing in their 3 years in office. We had to come in and build brand new hospitals in places as diverse as Comox, Courtenay, Campbell River, downtown Vancouver, Abbotsford, Kelowna, Kamloops, massive expansion of the Surrey Memorial Hospital. So we get things done, and we're proud to say so. And unfortunately, what we get from the NDP is a lot of talk, and there's actually a very good report card in the Vancouver Sun today saying they just don't deliver on all their promises, whether it's childcare, whether it's housing, whether it's addictions. Things are worse than they were 3 years ago. And if you're looking for a home in Vancouver, the costs are higher than ever. After hearing the NDP prattle on about affordability for 3 years, they really have accomplished nothing when it comes to housing affordability, homelessness, addictions. We're in a tight spot. British Columbia.
I'm glad you mentioned a couple of those items because I want to focus in on homelessness. Earlier this week, you accused John Horgan of essentially warehousing the homeless populations in Victoria and Vancouver. So what tangible plan would you have for the homelessness crisis facing not only those major cities, but other surrounding communities in our province?
Well, I think we're seeing this issue proliferate all around the province. It's been a big surprise to us to see collections of homeless people in places like Langley, Quesnel, Kelowna, Nanaimo. This is a problem that's spreading all over British Columbia. And let's be sympathetic and forward-looking. I go for a bike ride every morning, and in a park near my home, there's a collection of vehicles every morning with Alberta, Ontario license plates, little motor homes, cars, where people have just simply run out of money. They're down on their luck. That's one form of homelessness. Another form is driven by things like mental health, people with schizophrenia, people with bipolar disorder. Another form which overlaps with that is drug addiction. So we have been saying for a long time now, let's treat the causes and prevent the harm, because this proliferation of homelessness is something that none of us are proud of. It needs to be dealt with, and it needs to be dealt with effectively by treating the causes.
But can you give us an actual sort of pragmatic solution or approach or even a first step to address this major issue?
Well, we're going to have to start with the people who are just simply down on the luck. They need to get employment. They need to get out of living in vehicles because we know that's not good enough. They're basically short of money. And something we did for years when we were in office was provide rental supplements to people. So they had enough money to get into rental housing that was secure. So they had the self-respect and the esteem to get on with their lives, even though they're a few $100s short every month. That's a really effective way of getting people back on their feet. When it comes to addictions, we have said very consistently, people need to have a pathway to get off drugs. And the NDP approach has simply been harm reduction's all it takes, put you in a building, and we're seeing this in old motels in Victoria, in old hotels here in Vancouver, where people are literally being warehoused and spilling onto the street. I'm 2 blocks away from a section of Granville Street that is being thrown into turmoil. We visited a florist there. People come in and steal the flowers. We visited a breakfast place where people are supposed to go for breakfast. It's a little tiny mom and pop shop. They find people leaving needles in front of the door, people threatening their customers. This is not the way of life that we want and the way of life we should have in British Columbia. We're entitled to some degree of peace of mind in our communities, and that's what we think needs to be addressed on both the homelessness and the addictions front. And we see the NDP have failed completely on this file.
All right, Andrew, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much, and we hope to catch up with you again as we get closer to the October 24th election.
And I hope we can earn the respect of your listeners, and they'll get out to vote on October 24th.
Okay, thank you so much. That's BC Liberal Party leader Andrew Wilkinson, and Mary has more in news.